welcome to Free Media. I'm Robby Soave, and today I'm joined by Andrew Heaton, and I am also joined by your precious dog, Wallace, who was right here, and it was going to be such a cute little intro, and we took too long to get the cameras assembled because some people in the control room took too long, and now he's over there. But nevertheless, we're very excited about this episode.
It's a pleasure to be here. A lot of people would have checked in advance about whether they could bring their dog into a studio. Not me. I just brought my dog. He's sleeping behind me. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be fun. All right, let's get right to it. Jimmy Kimmel's return to the airwaves has infuriated President Donald Trump and delighted anti-Trump liberals and Democrats. Meanwhile, normal people like me just think whether Kimmel fails or succeeds should be up to the viewers, not the FCC. Hot take, I know.
Democrats aren't done with the issue by a long shot, however. Several Democratic lawmakers are pressing Nexstar Media and Sinclair Broadcasting Group to explain why and how they made the decision to yank Kimmel off TV.
Moreover, one Democrat, Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut, is vowing that if his party gets back into power, they could punish these companies by breaking them up. Let's watch.
We've got some very big protests coming up in the middle of October. That'll be an important moment for the people of this country to show that every time that Trump tries to ratchet down free speech, the protests get bigger. But the second remedy is for the Democratic Party to make clear that if you give us power, we are going to break up these corporate monopolies, and in particular these media monopolies. And I will say for a long time, the Democratic Party was often just as friendly as the Republican Party was to this consolidation of economic power in the financial services space, the banking space, or in the media space. So if we want to be credible as a critic of Trump's slide to totalitarianism, then we have to explain how we are going to put, local communities back in charge of their news.
You haven't had the opportunity yet to address Kimmelgate on this program, so I'll turn the floor over to you in a minute. But I just love this idea from the Democrats. Way too much kowtowing to an authoritarian. This is tyranny. And when we take back power, we will destroy every one of these companies for going along with it.
That's absolutely right. When it was just a couple of days ago, and it was just Jimmy Kimmel versus Commissioner Carr, I already didn't like anybody involved in the equation. Now I truly don't like anybody involved in the equation. My assessment of this is very similar to yours, which is that if people like Jimmy Kimmel and they like that's great. If they don't like him, they can get rid of him. The fight between the affiliates and Jimmy Kimmel, that is a private in-house matter. I think Commissioner Carr should be fired yesterday. I don't really like the idea of, and if we get into power, we'll break them all up. There is an argument to be made that monopolies are bad. I think monopolies are bad. I'm in favor of anti-monopoly legislation. I don't think that the good senator's really talking about monopolies. I think he's talking about large corporations. There's a difference between a company being big versus a company having a harmful market share that allows for coercive force. And we have a more dynamic, vibrant media ecosystem than in all of American history. The fact that we're doing this on YouTube is evidence of that.
Yes.
It's not just 3 or 4 different networks that control everything. There's so many more platforms available. So I'm not really worried about monopoly in that regard. I am worried about the government coming in and chilling speech, which happened, and I'm not particularly happy with the subsequent follow-up that Murphy had.
Yeah, we're talking about market capture of something that fewer and fewer Americans are tuning into at all, the late night comedy routine. You're kind of a comedian. You've done some stand-up comedy routines.
I'm either a very unsuccessful comedian or a very funny journalist. I'm on that spectrum, though.
Or maybe a professional, libertarian or magician. We can never quite tell.
I've got a cape. I'm a humorist.
We're all kind of in that category. There, but for the grace of God go I.
Although that being said, if the FCC could cancel me, that would be great because I'd get an Emmy out of it. So I would love it if somebody I'll say some nasty shit.
It's textbook Streisand effect. More people watching Kimmel, clips of him getting more attention, and that's such an obvious thing. I think the same thing when Trump's like, okay, we need to sue the ever-living fuck out of the Wall Street Journal for saying I wrote a birthday card to Jeffrey Epstein, which makes everyone go, okay, I would love to see this birthday card now. Just don't do that. And Democrats should have learned this, or I guess the FBI or whoever motivated, Facebook to be really careful about that Hunter Biden laptop story. Everyone knows much more about that story because they tried to suppress it. So there's a lesson in there for everyone, a lesson they all refuse to learn. But is late night, tell me as an expert comedian person, I don't think late night is going to be the entertainment, infotainment model of the future.
No, and it hasn't been for a while. And I like late night. I wish I had gone into late night. If I were more talented, I'd be there instead of talking to you. However, I've had to slub it in this field, but I like late night. The market's completely changed. You go back to when Johnny Carson was on the air. Johnny Carson got like, I don't know, 20% of nightly share. I mean, like 20% of households were watching Johnny Carson. It was a crazy amount. And now Colbert, who just got not renewed, is actually doing pretty well within the group. But
Johnny Carson was famously not political at all. Is that part of it? Is that, but now we demand politics and everything, or they're going to give us politics and everything, whether we want it or not. Sports has to be political.
Yeah.
You know, the difference between entertainment and politics is no longer there because of Trump. He is a entertainment figure in politics.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
I mean, I think that there are people that are reasonably apolitical. I think Jimmy Fallon is comparatively apolitical. While I agree with that, and I'd rather we have a Johnny Carson type character, we can all watch it, and we're not only laughing for stuff we agree with. I like that. I don't really think it's the economic model that's the problem. The problem is that the media ecosystem is so hard that it's been fractured. The media ecosystem, the exact reason that it is difficult and probably farcical to try to prosecute these companies as monopolies, has created an environment where no one can have a dominant market share.
Yeah.
So we have 1 billion channels on cable. There's like a Hasidic golf channel. There's a kite flying channel. There's multiple.
L'chaim.
Whatever you want, you can watch it. As a result, even if you're doing reasonably well, I think that like Colbert's getting, 2% of market share. Like, he's not getting a high amount, and it's very expensive. So when Colbert didn't get renewed, I did not think that was a free speech issue. I thought that was pure economics. They were losing like $30 million a year. That's all I need to know if I'm the head of the network. You're $30 million, get out, right? So that, I think, is just the fact that the media ecosystem has changed. There's competition coming in from YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, all that stuff. I did think that Jimmy Kimmel, we got into First Amendment territory. When you've got an FCC commissioner saying we can do this the easy way or the hard way using mafioso language, at that point we're getting into jawboning territory.
Well, and it confuses the issue because maybe it was just a pure, market-based decision, but the fact that he said that makes us wonder if it actually was. He could have just said nothing, which is, Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, Doug McCormick, tons of other Republican commentators were like, yeah, we like the guy because he's one of us, but we'd really rather he had not said that. Even J.D. Vance, I saw him make a comment about it. And of course, he was not going to criticize, a fellow member of the administration, but he did emphasize it's a market decision. We didn't threaten to do anything. We're not, I could sense even he had a discomfort that he couldn't vocalize about it.
One of the problems with the Trump administration is that everybody in it is trying to do their own personal Trump impression, and not everybody's very good at it.
Yeah.
So J.C. Vance, pretty good at doing a Trump impression, right? Carr's not good at doing a Trump impression. So he's shooting from the hip, trying to use tough guy language in a way that's wandering right into a courtroom if they had decided to sue. I do think it's problematic either way. Probably.
At least it's funny when Trump does it. It's just like amusing content while being very bad.
As a guy that really despises Donald Trump, I have to admit he's got great comedic timing.
Yeah.
He is very funny.
You put him on late night, people would watch.
I would watch. He is very funny. I do think it's relevant that Carr did that regardless of what the economics are, though. Like if a mafioso went to a grocery store and said, it'd be terrible if you went out of business, and then they went out of business anyway, the threat is still present. It's still an illegal action.
Yeah.
I don't know that they'd have cause to sue at this point since there's no damages, since he didn't end up getting yanked anyway.
Right.
And in the same capacity with Chris Murphy, I think the evidentiary threshold necessary to show that Sinclair and Newstar had collaborated with the Trump administration for regulatory, you'd have to have so many smoking guns in that.
Well, then it's like if you collaborate with the people threatening you, what is to do something that you, by the way, have the right to do, it's hard to show if they have the right to not air Kimmel and somebody else is threatening. Again, it goes to, we need to constrain the government's behavior, not, be angry about the last link in the chain, which is the company for reasons of being pressured or extorted or whatever, does something we don't like that is within their power to do. If we're mad about this, we need to constrain government behavior. Ironically, the Trump administration issued a great executive order saying that federal employees should not interact with social media companies in the way the Biden administration did in order to get some censorship. Of course, as everything with the Trump administration and with many Democratic administrations, a lot of hypocrisy there because now they're doing very much.
They did that. That was what, a day one executive order, which I agreed with. I was like, I believe in that. Thank you. For that reason, he should fire Commissioner Carr. I think like he's public office is a privilege. You're not entitled to innocence till proven guilty in that kind of situation. Like you stepped out of line. I would love it if Trump went, I'm sorry, this is infringing on freedom of speech. We actually care about that. We're going to kick you out. That would be a good thing. And then I'd like all the comedians to go back to doing jokes instead of claptor. That really bugs me. That's become
claptor.
Oh,
What's that?
do not.
I don't know what that is.
Is he fucking with me?
I've never laughed before. I don't know what humor is.
Okay, see,
I'm an automaton.
My mother took way too much Tylenol when I was a kid. As a result, I could be
You're
sarcastic.
You're a Tylenol American. Are you hearing this is what teenagers are calling each other now?
I'm like a quarter Tylenol. So it's difficult for me to be able to assess the sarcasm.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that the claptor has become not as bad now, particularly in 2016, 2017. It was absolutely horrible, and I want everybody to tell jokes. Yeah.
Oh, all right, stick to humor. That's what we've decided on here. More free media right after this. Stay with us.